Welcome everyone. Today, our focus is on Izmir, one of the most beautiful, most special, and most historic port cities of our Turkey. We are actually in the heart of modern Izmir. There is a hidden historical Izmir in the heart of modern Izmir. Yes, it was founded exactly 2,300 years ago. I will guide you step by step through historical Izmir, which has been buried under the concrete of modern Izmir. I will try to show you that hidden Izmir. If you're ready, let's begin. Welcome everyone. We are starting to explore historical Izmir within Izmir. There is a museum entrance behind us. You get your museum card or ticket. You enter from here. Normally, for someone who doesn't know, what is this place? This is an archaeological site. In other words, the remains of an ancient Roman city. But this is where the heart of 2,300-year-old Izmir beats. Let me show you first. Look, there is the Kemeraltı area in the back. That is after the 17th century of the Ottoman era. It was established as a port bazaar by the sea. And today, it is the famous Kemeraltı of Izmir. There are historical Ottoman mosques there. There is the Hisar Mosque. There is the Şadırvanaltı Mosque. These are 16th and 17th century mosques, and they are still standing. The seas continue behind that mosque. There is Konak Square. Konak Square is the main square of Izmir. If one were to mention the center of Izmir today, it would be Konak. Clock Tower of Konak Abdülhamid Han. What is in front of the mansion? The sea. In other words, the Sea of Izmir, the center of its port, is there during the Roman period. That is exactly 2,000 years ago. The sea was not far from that mosque, nor was it by the side of the mansion. Where? Do you see those traffic lights in front of us? There is a thin road in between. Cars come and go. The place where those traffic lights are, where the road for cars is, used to be the sea. And 2,300 years ago, historical Izmir was by the sea. What happens by the sea? There is a port. Ships come and go. Ships unload and load cargo. And where are these incoming goods sold? They're sold in the market. Where is the market? Here. In other words, the Agora. Those enormous, magnificent arches with its porticos. This was the largest market of the Hellenistic period in the world. The port of Izmir, just as it is today, it was one of the most magnificent trading ports in the world 2,000 years ago. It was one of them. The goods were unloaded at the edge of the port on the road where cars now pass. They were sold in this market and added to the wealth of Izmir. It was such a market that gladiators fought there. Courts were established. Senate delegations held their political discussions and speeches here. Goods, of course, were being bought and sold. There were even slaves among them. Everything was put on display. We are starting. There is just a tiny door between us. Please, go ahead. Yes, we have completed our ticket procedures. We are now entering. Look, we are greeted by a very nice presentation section at the entrance. There are photographs. In a moment, live, we will go under these arches. In other words, we will tour a historical market built 2,000 years ago. Today, when we think of a market, neighborhood markets come to mind. City markets. But what was a historical marketplace like in this way? What did Agora mean? During the Hellenistic period, that is, the commanders of Alexander the Great established a state here. How did trade operate in this state? How did it operate during the Roman period? How did it operate during the Ottoman period? We will see all of these in place among these arches. Let's walk this way. If you wish, when you come here, there are informational signs in Turkish or foreign languages. You can read these. Today, you don't need to read them. I will tell you more. So much more. Look, for example, right at the entrance, you see a woman's head. The woman you see here is Faustina. That is, especially knowing a husband and wife right at the entrance of the Agora. This is not just an Agora. It is necessary to know at the entrance of the historical center of Izmir. Why? Because in AD, in 178, a terrible earthquake occurs in Izmir, and the city is completely destroyed. Who is the man who rebuilt the city as it was? The famous figure from the movie Gladiator, Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Of course, his wife also supports him. His wife Faustina repairs part of the city with her own resources. and thus the busts of the husband and wife are placed at the entrance gate of the city. The bust of Marcus Aurelius is still being searched for. It hasn't been found, but the one of his wife has been. This is the official photo, but soon you'll encounter the real thing. Let's move on. Look, here is a very beautiful aerial photograph. This aerial photograph actually tells us a lot. You can see Konak Square. This is the place we see. Look, this is Izmir. The Gulf, the port is immediately on the right side. Normally, this place we see is filled. Because, there's a mountain behind us. A mountain behind us. That mountain is the main place where the city was founded. Remember, historically, cities are built on hills. They lower them downwards. Most of the time, they don't lower them. Here, they have to lower it. Let me show you where that mountain is right away. That mountain you see there, right behind us. When they conquered this place, the Aydınoğulları Principality named it Kadifekol. So the upper part of the city, the Acropolis area, is there. The place you see there, that's the historical castle we know as Kadifekol. And there is administration in the castle. Normally, there is an inner castle and an outer castle. The ruler or local administrator stays in the inner castle. There is a mosque in the inner castle. There are some weapon depots and a garrison in the inner castle. And then outside of that, there is the outer castle. Where is the outer castle of Istanbul today? The walls surrounding the city. Where is the inner castle? The walls surrounding the Topkapi Palace. Just like this. Now today I will tell you about the historical Izmir's port area. But I promise in the near future, one day we will climb up to the hill again. I will tell you about the Acropolis at the top in that hill area. There have been some excavations there in recent years. You will be amazed. Look, they found something similar to the Basilica cistern in Istanbul. A massive cistern. All the ancient travelers and sources can't stop praising this cistern. It was found up there. Its restoration needs to be completed urgently and open to tourism. Inside the castle, up there is the oldest mosque in Izmir, from the Seljuk period. The castle mosque. Underneath it, there is a small monastery ruin. All of these should be restored and open to tourism. Look, you know me. I think both the monastery and the mosque should be restored. And all should be open to tourism, side by side. The castle is already a Seljuk castle. It existed during the Roman period as well. A castle dating back to the Hellenistic period. I haven't explained how the city was founded. I will tell you. In this city, it starts from here, as you can see. Look at the city. When I say from here, the sea is over there. The city starts at the edge of the sea over there. It goes from where the road is, all the way up to Kadifekale. This is old Izmir, Bise, in the 300s. This city was founded by Alexander the Great. How and in what way? The story is coming up shortly. Now we are still in the warm-up phase. I don't want to overwhelm you by telling everything all at once. We will talk while enjoying it as we explore. The Ottomans also left magnificent traces here. So many things. The Turks conquered historical Izmir in 1317, and they conquered it 4 times. Also, there is a place called Gavur Izmir. There is a place called Muslim Turkish Izmir. Today, this term Gavur Izmir is completely misunderstood. I will try to explain the real reason for this to you. As the TV presenters say, coming up next, the weather is very nice today. It rained well. The weather is sparkling. We will bring you very clear images. The sea is there. The city center is there. Nobles and rebels live on the hill at the Acropolis, descending downwards. Normally, cities are built on hills for safety reasons, to be more easily defended and to see the enemy from afar because of the fear of earthquakes. But there is an exception here. We need the sea. We have to be close to the sea. Why? Because ships are coming. There is trade, goods will arrive, goods will be loaded. So it becomes necessary to move the city down towards the port. The city on the hill, they move it downwards. The port is there, right where the road is. Now look, we have a street here where cars pass by. That is İki Çeşmelik Street. Right in front of that street is the sea. And of course, because the port is there and the heart of trade beats here, this massive commercial structure we see. The Agora was built here. The center of the city was up there. Now, What is the center of the city? With our backs to Kadif Kale, as named by the Turks, we look towards the port. And when we look, this is the view that appears before us. According to this aerial photo, the Kadif Kale, the castle area at the back remains here. It is not visible in the photo. This is what we see when we look from Kadif Kale. Here is the Agora. It was actually a U-shaped structure. Well, you see, this structure had porticos surrounding the central market area on three sides. An architectural element we call revak in Ottoman, a shaded area with columns. But right now, of course, we are talking about the basement and the first floor. We see the columns and column bases. However, it was a magnificent three-story structure. And this is the Çeşmelik Street I mentioned to you earlier. The sea was right here. Look, the sea was right here. Ships would dock up to this point. And they would load and unload goods. Just like how Karakoy and Eminönü were vibrant trade centers along the Golden Horn in Istanbul. Eminönü comes from the names Customs, Eminönü front, Customs Eminönü area, Sea Customs. This was also the customs area of the Izmir Sea. But unfortunately, the river flowing from Kadifekal to the area filled this place with alluvium, filling and filling until the sea receded to the quay. Of course, the event I am describing happened centuries ago. That is in the 10th century BC. Izmir, Smyrna was founded in 300. What I am referring to is in the 10th century BC. By then, the Agora in this area became unusable. Then it turned into a cemetery. First, it became the Christian Roman cemetery, then the Ottoman cemetery. This place, life shifted here because these areas were filled. Because the closer you are to the sea, the closer you are to ships, trade, and money. And thus this became a dead zone. This became the living, vibrant area. Look, here you can see the Hisar and Shadurvan mosques, built during Murad's reign. One is from the 17th century, because the Ottoman living area shifted here. Where is the famous bazaar we call Kemeraltı in Izmir today? Look, this is the area where the Erastus you see are located, Ottoman bazaars. In other words, the Romans had Erastus for trade. When it got crowded here, they moved closer to the sea. In the Ottoman period, the bazaars shifted here. Normally, trade was conducted in an agora with hundreds of shops under the arches, but then trade shifted here. Even though there are no arches here, the name of the bazaar called Under the Arches was given to this place. And that's why it was called Under the Arches. What is our dream? Our dream is this. Just like the houses here, were nationalized, demolished, because they had no historical significance, no value. They were restored and magnificent things emerged from underneath. Our dream is this. In the area from Agora to Kadayfi Castle, there are some buildings from the last 40, 50 years that have no historical significance. These should also be removed. Of course, the owners should be made happy. They should be given better places elsewhere. And the area between the castle and Agora should be fully excavated to reveal the historical Smyrna, the old Izmir. You see this city, right? This city was first conquered by Çaka Bey. Who is Çaka Bey? He is the father-in-law of the Anatolian Seljuk Sultan Kılıç Arslan Temur, the first known Turkish sailor in history. Çaka Bey was the first to conquer Izmir. Later, the Aydınoğulları conquered it. Mr. Umur, he conquered it first. Then the Genoese took it back. He besieged it to conquer it a second time. He was martyred during the siege. He is currently buried in the garden of the mosque in Birgi. He conquered it for the second time. For the third time, Timur conquered this place. Timur took it. Then the Venetians, the Catholic maritime group, who were guarding the port area, took it back. For the fourth and final time, it was taken by the father of Fatih Sultan Mehmet II. Murad took it. Izmir, it was besieged, taken, and lost again exactly 4 times by Muslim Turks. Second, since the conquest by Murad, Izmir has never left our hands again. It became our Izmir, and hopefully it will remain our Izmir until the end of time. But not like this, for God's sake. This is a disgrace. This is an ugliness. I leave it to those who contributed to this ugliness in the last century. The entire sin, the crime of this ugliness, It is our duty to clean this place and bring historical Izmir back to life. If you're ready, we're starting. Come on, please. Now we will go inside. Inside, the men know their work, the Romans. How do they know? There is a mother rock coming from the city towards here. The mother rock ends about 20 meters behind where we are standing. Now, they made a market area there, the Romans. That market will extend up to here, but the rock ends. The rock comes from there, sloping like this, just 15, 20 meters behind us. Because they needed to build a main building and had to keep the market long and wide. This porticoed building, let's not set its foundation in the ground. In case there's an earthquake tomorrow, it would collapse. The main rock and the mother rock. So they filled the space between this high rock above with a storage building. Now we will go inside. The main reason for building these structures is to anchor the foundations to the bedrock. And this magnificent sight you see, the world's oldest graffiti was found in this storage area. Look, let me show you from here. This area you see. Do you see the galleries? First, second, third, fourth. There are exactly 4 different galleries here. Where is this place? This is the area you see. Of course, this was used as a storage area in the Agora, these places. It was used as a place where slaves were imprisoned. It was used as a place where gladiators were confined. Multi-purpose. And, of course, the people who were confined there. The people who spent time there didn't stay idle. Humans love to scribble. They pick up something. They've taken pieces of charcoal. People wrote and drew on the environments they were in. And what things they wrote? Their feelings, thoughts, loves, goals, victories, triumphs. Look, there's a gladiator. Have you seen one here? So many things. Pardon me. They even wrote their curses. They wrote about their struggles, their rivalries, where these graffitis are. I will take you to that place. Let's eat here. It's truly very exciting. Now, I've been involved in tourism for years. I've worked with many tour companies. We are doing a Birgi tour. Birgi, a very beautiful historical city. The capital of Aydınoğulları. We are doing a tire tour. We are doing a Selçuk Ephesus tour. But do you know the response I've been getting for years when I suggest to tour companies that we should also visit Izmir? Oh, sir, there's an Agora in Izmir. For heaven's sake, they say they won't bring the bus into Izmir just for an Agora. This is the problem with the people of Izmir. If you don't open up this area all the way to Kadif Kale, tourists won't come here. We want to see historical Izmir. Yes, are we ready? We are now entering inside, into this 2,000-year-old historical. We move into the Agora. I mean, even Alexander the Great walked around here. His commanders and many others, all the way to the Seleucids, walked here. Look, a few hours ago there was a very strong rain. Look, there's no rain right now. The rain came and went. Here, listen, you can hear the sound of water. There are drips happening. What is the reason for this? This is a significant water source. We will discuss all of these. Come on, let's move to the side. This was the first gallery. Look, this is the first gallery. Now I'm moving from the first gallery to the second gallery. There are only water pipes under our feet. This is the second gallery. First of all, this. Let's go to the place where the graffiti is. Now, the Romans made this a trade center, but Kadif Kale is an incredible water center. Water is gushing out from everywhere. Because of this, they brought this water down to the Agora, the commercial area where the heart of the city beats. And the Agora made use of it. This water is still flowing, and in such a way. There is such a strong, sparkling water here that it will blow your mind in the heart of Izmir. Now, this place is only open for tourism during the summer months. For a few hours each day under the supervision of officials, people enter. Under the observation of officials, they examine the wall paintings and leave. In other words, entering here and filming inside. Taking photographs is prohibited, because the world's oldest and most magnificent graffiti discovered so far are in Izmir, on the walls of the Agora. There is a sense of history here. I am curious about this history. You are curious too. The clearest information you can see about this is in these paintings. Look, there is a wall over there. This is the photo of the wall you see. Look, you can see the wall. The wall on the left, taken directly from the front of that wall on the left. Look, this is the photo. This is what you see. These places were actually shops, section by section. They were section by section storage buildings. Over the centuries, they were used for different purposes. Gladiators were confined here. Slaves waiting to be sold were confined here. Goods to be sold were piled up here. If a person was a slave, excuse me, but they were considered goods. They were an item to be sold, and they were also placed here. When an item to be sold was placed here, it couldn't draw anything on the wall, but if it was a person, they would. For example, they got angry at their owner. They cursed the people they lived with in Cyprus. They made depictions of male sexual organs known as phalluses. Opposite them, they made faces of people they didn't like. In a way, they turned that curse, that malediction, into images. They wrote their targets, their dreams, their victories. Here there are pictures of gladiators. They raised their hands, they achieved victory. Here there is competition. Around Izmir, including Izmir, there have always been 3 cities in competition with each other. One is Smyrna, which is Izmir. The other, Pergamon, which is Bergama. And the other is Ephesus, which was not a city in Selçuk. At that time, let Ephesus be Ephesus. Imagine an Ephesus fan coming all the way to the Agora here in Izmir. And in Izmir, like a Fenerbahce supporter sneaking into Galatasaray Stadium, the main home, and writing on the wall, long live, like writing Fenerbahce. It's actually a very problematic situation. If they catch the person, they would finish him. I mean, you go to the rival team and write something there. Or think of it the other way around. You go to Trabzon and write something there, the rival team. Or there was Izmir's famous persuasion team. One is Karşıyaka and the other is Göztepe. Think of it like their rivalry, for example. The man got up. He came from Ephesus to Smyrna to Izmir to this Izmir you see here. On the wall, he said Ephesus, the first of Asia, and wrote it. The first of Asia. So it's actually Ephesus, not Pergamon or Smyrna. When this rivalry is known, it holds great significance. What are gladiator images doing here? Because we know that gladiators were transformed in the Agora Square. There was no need for an area like the Colosseum in Rome. There was no need for an area like the Hippodrome in Istanbul. I will show you shortly. Gladiator fights were also held in open areas. People would watch them. We were curious about where this water facility comes from. Let's move over there. There is an incredible water source here. Izmir should make use of this water. I mean, this water should definitely be utilized. It flows abundantly, especially during those summer heat periods when we need water. In recent years, there have been serious droughts in Turkey. We went through a few summers. Even during those droughts, this water didn't decrease a bit. Let's proceed carefully. What is this? Would you look at this beauty? Look, would you take a look? Now this fountain was built later. It says Smyrna, but the water source is original. Perfect. Alexander the Great drank this water 2,200 years ago. His commander founded Izmir on his orders. Aydınids came. Umur Bey's mimickers drank from this water. The Ottomans came. Murad II conquered Izmir and drank from this water. Tamerlane came and conquered Izmir. He drank from this water. We still haven't come to this. Come, as soon as possible to this. Water? We're the only ones left again. Why haven't we? There isn't just one water source. There are many. Let's take a walk. There are conduits, old historical conduits, pipes. Here, you see an arch. And here there is a keystone. So how does it work? There is a keystone here, which means there was an arch here too. It used to go from there. What happened? What will happen? There was an earthquake, a terrible earthquake in the year 178. It destroyed Izmir completely and the city was rebuilt. When the walls of the old Agora and the keystones were renewed, these were demolished. When they were demolished, they said this is not solid. Instead, they made new columns, keystones, and bases. And they adorned this place with new arches. Let me show you here. Look, you see the pipe? These pipes have lips between them. Why? A section of the pipe here passes through to the second section from here. That is the protrusion of the pipe here. Fits entirely into the two recesses here. And because they lock into each other completely, there is no possibility of water leakage. With such pipes, water is directed from the main channel to the intermediate section. And if you pass like this, in the main section, there is a main arch in the main section. You will see it look. These areas continue like this. For example, there is an arch on the right side. Do you see that brick arch? On the right side. Look, there is a brick arch here. Inside this arch, there is a niche, a passage there. Water used to flow through it in this way. Yes, carefully. There are indeed very significant water sources here. Not just 1, 2, or 3. There are many. It's truly very exciting. And those arches, you know, that depth. You should come here, if not for anything else, at least to take photos. The waters are flowing. A perfect murmur in your ear. Everywhere you touch, already 2,000 years old, is amazing. Of course, in such a vibrant city, a jewel of the world, everyone would want to leave a mark. That's human nature. If they can't find anything, they scribble a heart on a tree bark. While at school, they doodle something on the desk, leaving a mark. No one wants to be forgotten. Everyone wants to be eternal. And in such a city, in an agora where the heart of world trade beats, many people have left their mark. For example, one of them is this stone you see here. For instance, this one you see is one of them. A man named Meleknes. This man was the high priest of the city of Smyrna. There is no Christianity yet. They were pagans. They worship Zeus, Aphrodite, Artemis. And he commissions this monument, you see. And here it is described that he was the high priest of Smyrna, the protector of the region, an important person, and the investments and good deeds he made for the city. Now, for example, there is another stone here. That one is also very interesting. This stone you see here. There is an expression here called neokoros, a person who develops the city, who provides great benefits to the city. The name Aurelius is also mentioned in connection with him. Servant, sweeper of the city's temples. This is what neokoros means. Temple sweeper. This title is given to both individuals and cities. For example, this person received the title of neokoros. It is mentioned here. Temple sweeper. In other words, he has served the temples of the Creator, or as referred to in those days, the gods extensively. He made financial contributions, maintained it, and became a neokoros. Temple sweeper. Cities also received this title. For example, Smyrna is a rival to Pergamon and Ephesus. Pergamon and Ephesus have received this title twice, while Smyrna has received it 3 times. This term, temple sweeper, Ottoman sultans also used a similar term. In the Topkapi Palace or the Museum of Turkish and Islamic Arts, there are plumes that the sultans attach to their turbans. There are feathers at the ends of the plumes. These feathers come from long brooms used to sweep the dust from the Kaaba or the Prophet's mosque in Medina. With handles, they have peacock and ostrich feathers at the ends. They later have these feathers brought to Istanbul. They attach them to their plumes. They used to say, "O Lord, we are the sweepers of your house. O Messenger of Allah, we are the sweepers of your mosque." Look, beliefs change, but the titles remain the same, even if 2,000 years have passed. There is another very beautiful source in the back. Let's see that too. Of course, let's not forget this. There is magnificent craftsmanship of the Roman Empire here. I mean, do you see the precision of these stones? These were made 2,000 years ago. I mean, back then, there were no stone cutting tools like today. It was entirely based on human power. These were cut with millimetric precision. The edges were embossed, and they were glued together with millimetric precision, lip to lip. I mean, you can't pass anything through here. When you look at it, there is such perfect artistry. We should see how honestly these people did something when they made it. Yes, the man was making a fuss. He was a pagan, but he did his work properly and honestly. I mean, it's not enough just to have a Muslim name. It's not enough just because I prayed. There are those who claim to be very religious but act dishonestly. who, by building immorally, have caused the loss of thousands of lives. So either be a proper Muslim or don't be one at all. Because a pagan from history with his proper work could unfortunately outshine today's Muslims. So it's necessary to be balanced here. This man worshipped idols. I wish he had a proper and true belief, but he was proper and honest with his morals. I wish today's Muslims were at least as moral as these men, so that not so many lives would be lost in these earthquakes. Yes, look, water is coming from a separate source here. Here, water is coming from a separate source. For example, a wall has been built here. Why was this wall built? Because behind here is a cistern. The Romans, they used the area as an agora, a commercial gathering and trading place. But in later centuries, due to the abundance of water, they converted part of it into a cistern with 7 arches. The Great Cistern Hill was also newly discovered near the castle. Hopefully it will be open to tourism. But also in this area right by these walls. Massive cisterns consisting of 7 compartments are also mentioned here and behind. I just talked a bit about the earthquake, didn't I? I explained the architectural ethics of these people. Adi. After the city was destroyed in the great earthquake of 178 AD, I mentioned how they rebuilt the city and the sponsorship of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius in this matter. Come after the earthquake. How did these people build an Izmir that wouldn't collapse? Let me show you that as well. In fact, while showing this, we will also remember Mimar Sinan. Mimar Sinan will come to mind because I will show similar architecture. In the village of Aydınids in Kayseri, Mimar Sinan's relatives also used it. Look, here it is. Come this way. After the earthquake in 178 AD, while they were rebuilding the city, they applied this so that if another earthquake occurred, the city wouldn't collapse. They implemented these arch systems you see here. There is a pillar here. The arch extends from the pillar like this. Did you count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exactly 5 arches converge in the middle with a keystone. It locks all of them and ensures they stand firm and solid. If you go to Aydınids in Kayseri today, the very bottom of those stone houses in Aydınids village, the animal barns. Enter the barns and you will see triple, quadruple, quintuple arches and overlay beams like this. Mimar Sinan even used this system in the Şehzade Mosque. The coming together of the triple arch system, familiar. In short, they were ethical. They did their work properly, they put their mind into their work, and when there was a problem, no harm came to life or property. Now, let's go up. Now I'm saying it again. We are currently in the basement of the Agora. Why does this basement exist? It exists to connect the level difference between the structure above and here. It exists to support the ground of the market above, on top of this. Let's go up. We have come out to the square. 2,000 years ago, this was one of the largest markets in the world. The word Agora means gathering place. When you mention Agora, our people immediately think of the Agora Tavern. If you want to see the Agora Tavern, you will join my Fenerbahçe Ayvansaray tour in Istanbul. On that tour, I take the group to the Agora Tavern. Moreover, the tavern was opened in the 1880s. It has been there since the time of the 2 Abdülhamid periods. Well, of course, the neighborhood is a Christian neighborhood. People dip bread in wine and do this for worship. Opening a place that sells alcohol in such a location is quite normal in the Ottoman geography. There is no problem. Agora normally means marketplace in Roman architecture. You see this area? Look at this huge area. It was exactly like this area 2,000 years ago during the Roman period. It was empty. Why empty? Because people were coming from the right, left, villages and other cities. They were setting up their tents. Underneath, just like today's marketplaces, they would bring their fruits, vegetables, and textiles. Handmade items, someone would bring their wooden spoon. A man, working with clay, he baked it, made a jug, and brought his jug. One would sell, another would buy. Izmir residents. This place was such a magnificent, lively area that many people from Izmir would definitely visit here. 3 to 4 days a week. Then they would go home. They would come here to chat for work, for life. Life revolved here. This was its heart, by the sea. All the trade was here. Istiklal Avenue by the Sea of Istanbul. Or, well, the promenade by the sea. This was that place. It was a socializing area. There was a building here. Look, the remains are still there. It used to come this way. The second building was the one you see here. There is a basement only under this section and that section. And there was also a building here. During recent repairs, the columns, bases, and capitals of the first floor of the portico, unearthed in the excavations, were placed back on top. Of course, when we look from here, we don't understand anything. It was exactly 3 stories high. 3 stories. So, the floor you see now is the first floor. The section you see is the first floor. Above this, there was a second floor. And above that, there was a third floor. The grandeur of Rome. This is a marketplace. Which other state in the world has built a second marketplace like this? Namely, shopping malls and mavems. They still can't hold a candle to this building wall from 2,000 years ago. Never, in any way. It was multifunctional. It wasn't just for buying and selling goods. For example, inside the first floor, you see, there was a courtroom. We place courts. There is trade here. Goods come and go. Of course, there were frauds. There were those who violated each other's rights and laws. Courts would convene and disperse right here. Besides that, this was the cisterns area. For example, let me give you some information about that. I am to you. Come this way. Now look. First, let me take the camera next to me. Let me show you this place. This is the area with the water channels and pipes that I just showed you. Look, you can see this area. Look, you can see the arches. The arches. It goes exactly like this. Now look, there are a few interesting things here. Right here. This area, you see, is what we call the Odeon. It has a few different names. It's also called an Odeon. This means the place of the assembly. In Roman cities, there is a theater. We know what a theater is. There is a gymnasium. It means a school where education is given. There is an agora. This is the place. It means marketplace. Like this. And there are also Odeons. That is, assembly meetings are held, music performances are given, political speeches and discussions take place, crises are managed. In a place where the heart of such a society beats, there will definitely be an Odeon, and they have built an Odeon in that place you see. Currently, entry there is prohibited. I know that place. I have managed to go there somehow, I have seen it, but I can't film there. Excavation is still ongoing, but it's almost finished. They said they would open it for visits today or tomorrow. Like a theater, there are semicircular steps like this. The first steps are still there, the other parts have been dismantled. They have not survived to the present day. Do you see that roof? Under that roof there is a huge single-piece mosaic. It has been found in Turkey so far. One of the largest mosaics. It is not exactly known what that place was. It is only speculated. Now if that place is an Odeon, this area that follows is related to the Odeon. Again, such a gathering, hosting. It is said that it could be a region for that. In other words, Roman noble, aristocratic. Remember, it's always like that. We, the common people, go to one place, and then the rich, the nobles come. They don't put all of us in the same place. Even when you go to the airport, there is a VIP, there is a CIP, and then there is the gate for the common people. Not everyone enters through the same gate. It was the same in Rome. In this place you see. It was an area frequented by the noble and aristocratic who came to the market, even if it hasn't been fully named. This place you see is the Odeon area. For example, when we talk to the locals here, they say, Professor, 15 years ago there were shops on those mosaics. They say there were famous shoe stores of Izmir. There was even a boyos shop over there. They tell us they ate a lot of boyos. What happened to those shops 15 years ago? They were nationalized. They were vacated and excavated. Giant mosaics were discovered underneath. Hopefully, we are waiting for it to open for visits soon. What was this place? It was the area with the colonnades of the first portico where the Revak columns were located. I will take you to the gate of the bazaar. Agora. You know, knowing is a beautiful thing. Do you know that? When you don't know, a person might say, what if I bring my sheep here to graze? They only see grass. Or someone might say, this is a great place for a barbecue. Just think about it. But when you know, see this place through my eyes right now. Thousands of people over there. Buying, selling, fighting, sitting and talking, examining each other's goods, properties and slaves. The noise of bargaining, the hustle and bustle of the market subtly reaches my ears. For me, it's like this. It's very beautiful then. You need to know history to travel back in time. Look, this part has been completely renovated. The old portico stones of this area remain. This area could never be found. And it's being rebuilt from scratch with new marble. Look, the bases are all new, but the columns were erected originally. This is the right way, and it should be done like this. Yes, we've arrived, we've arrived. Oh, look at the ground. Do you really think that the Romans left this place like a meadow? They made it a lawn. Well, Professor, we come here to sell sheep. While we're here, the animals graze. Do you think that 2,000 years ago, during the Roman period, there was a single weed here, or that those dandelion flowers were standing there? This place was as smooth as a razor. It was a marble floor. They were humans too. They were more human than you and me, just so you know. Don't get me wrong. We think we are the most luxurious and civilized because we use iPhones. Since they didn't have iPhones, we think they were less evolved. The man was more human than us. He was more civilized. We still haven't been able to create theaters like theirs, just so you know. Our cultural centers still haven't caught up to theirs. Look at this floor. There's just a little bit left here. Did you see it? Look at the marble. It covered the entire floor. This marble covering used to encircle the entire square like this. And the Agora had a two-arched entrance gate. Here it is. Look, this was the entrance to the bazaar. The first arch comes from here like this. The second arch is incomplete over there. To continue the second arch, we need to remove this wall and dig forward. Are we going to do it? Of course we will do it. But someone needs to have the courage to do it. I thank the officials of Izmir very much. Especially in recent years, they have expropriated with great courage. Most of the slum houses there were acquired. And this area was uncovered, right? Until recently, these places were full of houses, full of shops. I also feel sorry for the shop owners here, but it needs to be excavated. There is no other solution, Rather, there is a historical artifact under your house. That person will be compensated, so they won't be victimized. It will be uncovered and excavated. If something historical were found under my house, I would bow my head and leave. It has to be this way. As long as the authorities don't victimize the person there. And that person shouldn't be stubborn, I'm not leaving. You will leave. There is a 2,000-year-old artifact. There's no such thing. This place will be opened. Didn't you have any conscience while building the wall, guys? Can you look at this? A tombstone with a turban, at least 400 years old, has been placed inside the wall. We have plenty anyway. Just lay it down. The ancestor story is just a tale. Look, you see, they have included historical artifacts from Rome here. They have also included the Ottoman here. I always say this. Our leaders and their followers in the last 100 years are like that. Forget the ancestors. It's just a story. They had no respect for Rome. They had no respect for the Ottoman either. They destroyed and moved on. This is the view of Turkey in the last century. Let me speak frankly. I love Rome too. I love the Ottoman Empire too. And I believe that all of them should be preserved. That's why we will properly explain Rome to our people, as well as the Seljuks, the Aydınids, and the Ottomans. So now half of the arch of this gate is empty. For example, right now our excavation experts, our excavation leaders here, are eagerly trying to find the bust or relief of Marcus Aurelius. Look, his wife Faustina is over there. There was another arch over here. In the middle of the arch was Marcus Aurelius. Who was Marcus Aurelius? There was a wise emperor, you know, in the movie Gladiator. That wise emperor was killed by his son Commodus, that wise king. This man is a very important man. There is a city called Vienna, The Ottomans besieged it repeatedly, but couldn't capture it. Vienna is the capital of Austria. Who founded Vienna? This man founded it. Marcus Aurelius founded it. The man who founded Vienna AD. In the 178 earthquake, Izmir was destroyed. He rebuilt Izmir. So, for example, I don't know if Izmir and Vienna are sister cities right now. But if not, I'm calling out to the authorities. They should become sister cities, because the same man founded both Vienna and Izmir, Marcus Aurelius. Look, I also told you about Timur, the father of Fatih II. I also talked about Murad, but I'm also talking about Marcus Aurelius. If we do this, we won't be bigoted. or fanatical. Backwardness has no religion, has no sect. Backwardness is backwardness. There is a side that worships Marcus Aurelius, loves him a lot. The other one is two, loves Murad II a lot. Don't be a one-winged bird. See everything, know everything. If they are people to be respected, then respect them. Boyostu gave divine support to her husband. For example, in the 1766 earthquake, half of Istanbul was destroyed. 3. Musala's wife, Mirisha Sultan, helped rebuild the destroyed Istanbul. This woman is a very special woman. Earthquakes happen and pass. No one talks about Mirisha Sultan. Eyüp Sultan Mosque was destroyed. The Janissary who had it rebuilt was her son. 3. It was Selim, who commissioned all the social buildings, soup kitchens and schools next to the mosque. Mirisha Sultan commissioned them. We will also know Faustina. We will also know Mirisha, the Sultan from the fortress. That's when we will become truly enlightened. Then the future will take much stronger steps. We will be able to walk. This is very important. We are coming a bit more towards our side. The Roman Empire did these things. But while Rome was doing these, there was actually a man who founded the city, Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great in 300 BC took over the army prepared by his father after the death of his father, Philip. He first came to Çanakkale Karabiga. Persian King Mehmed III at the Battle of Granicus. He defeated Darius. Then Darius fled. They will fight. The Battle of Issus in Adana. But Alexander, he descended from Çanakkale along the Aegean coast, down from Mount Ida. He toured the Ionian cities on the ancient Aegean coast. For example, he stopped by Urla. In Urla, we have an island that had a hospital on it until recently. He visited Klozomenai there. He had a stone road built between the island and the mainland. It stands in the sea. He toured the cities. He came as far as Ephesus. As he was coming to Ephesus, he was descending from above on the road. First from Izmir to Ephesus, further south. He sent his army ahead. He said, I am very curious about this Smyrna. Let me see this place first, then I'll stop by, he said. The first Izmir Smyrna was not here. It was not where Kadife is. The first Izmir was in Bayraklı. Beyse, it was founded. The hill is nice, there's security, the view isn't bad, but it was a very narrow hill. It couldn't grow any larger. Later it moved from Bayraklı. This is overlooking the sea. This is Limanya, ready from the sea. He came to this hill where Kadife is located to hunt with his soldiers. Alexander, he got tired while hunting here. He said, I'm going to lie down for a bit, I'm going to rest. The ancients loved it very much. A nap, you just curl up like this. In half an hour you feel rejuvenated. Alexander also curled up there. In his dream, the powers he believed in, whoever he worshipped that day. They said, move the city here, move the city to where you are sleeping. He woke up and gave orders. He had the city moved here from Bayraklı. So in fact, the person who first founded the city was Alexander the Great. His men, the Seleucids, gradually moved the city from top to bottom. And thus a city was established. I told you about the Roman aspect of the city, from end to end. Then what happened? In 1317, Aydınoğulları conquered İzmir. With their conquest, the administration moved from Kadife to Mabul, a very beautiful castle from the fortress. A mosque was built. The foundations remain and they descended downward. During the Christian-Roman period after pagan Rome, part of this area began to be used as a cemetery. How so? My dear, did the huge, gigantic commercial center Agora extinguish? Is it over? Unfortunately, because the river flowing from Kadife towards here, it flowed into the sea, starting right at that street and filled it up. Many cities in history have been filled in this way. Where is the sea? Of Ephesus. You know the port. The port of the ancient city of Ephesus. The sea is 30 kilometers away. Filled. It has always been filled in. Many cities, historical cities, have disappeared in this way. For example, you go to Dalyan, the ancient city of Konos in Dalyan. Some of the most beautiful cities in the world. A port here on the hill, a port here. But that's the water of Dalyan flowing and flowing. It fills this place too, and this place as well. You know how you go to Istuzu beach with boats, with rowboats? It filled in between because ships used to enter. But now ships can't enter there. Now it's left to the blue crabs. All that beautiful land. Life is like this. And the ancient city of Kaunas was abandoned. No trade, no ships, no money, and no people. Everyone fled, left. This place filled up all the way to Konak Square. Once it filled up, who would want a marketplace so far from the sea? Goods aren't coming, are they? Far away. This place died. Seven, the city, meaning this area, completely faded away. 10, only a small Christian cemetery remained in the place you see here. All the vitality moved to areas closer to the sea. When the Aydınoğulları conquered this place, yes, there is Kadife Kayali up there. They said, what should we do with this area below the castle? Let's make it a cemetery. This became a Muslim Turkish cemetery. In fact, not just a cemetery, the Aydınoğulları used it as a place for prayer. One, Abdülhamid Han's mosque is currently in a very bad condition. It should be restored to its original state. All right, there's no problem. It has been restored. Let the cemetery be brought to a more proper state. Let the prayer area be revitalized. If we can't find the mihrab stone, let's have a Qibla stone made. Let's place the Qibla stone. Let's tell our children and grandchildren passing by that from the Aydınoğulları to the late Ottoman period, your ancestors prayed here. Let's revive the Roman Agora, the first floor of the portico. If we have the strength, the second and third, let's also build the floors. Let the world flow here. Let the world read our entire history here, from Alexander the Great to Ataturk's mother. Let them leave foreign currency, explore, and be amazed by us. There are very beautiful sparkling lawns. Water flows abundantly below. You'll go right to the fountain. Perform your ablution, then you'll come here and perform a couple of units of prayer. Like that. We are the people of this land. If I have this sentiment, rest assured, the Aydınoğulları who came here 700 years ago had it too. They see the beautiful, perfectly flat lawns. They build a cemetery on one side, the Musalla Cemetery. And what is this place of prayer here called? Musalla Prayer Area. In fact, the name of the neighborhood in this area of Izmir is Namazgah neighborhood. Look, come this way. There is a street in front of us. The name of this street is Namazgah Street. A mosque is built here during the reign of Abdülhamid. Look, the mosque is standing over there. Abdülhamid, late 1700s. The name of the mosque still remains. Namazgah Mosque. Next to it, look, there is a bathhouse. Its dome is visible. What is its name? Namazgah Bathhouse. This again is the common sense. They make this place a prayer area. As you know, my doctoral thesis is on Turkey's prayer areas. For years, I searched and examined prayer areas all over Turkey. Only the name remains for some of them. Namazgah Street, the Namazgah has disappeared. Only a small mihrab remains for some. Some are standing as they are. Some seem like as if it was made yesterday, sparkling and well preserved. Various kinds. This was Izmir's prayer area as well. For centuries, from the 1300s to the present, the Muslim Turkish people of Izmir gathered here during Ramadan and Eid al-Adha. This was their picnic area. Friday. Prayers were held here collectively. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I haven't read it in any source. Please try to envision Aydınoğulları Martyr Umur Bey performing Friday prayers here with his soldiers and people whose grave is in Birgi today. Try to envision Sultan Murad II praying here, the father of Mehmed the Conqueror, of Timur. Try to envision him praying here. Rest assured, they all prayed here at this historic prayer ground. If we come here and say we are their descendants, I don't know if it would be a problem if we said we should pray here with some wisdom. There's Talha Hoka, a Janissary tradition in Esiköy. A trend will start in Turkey. Everyone will come to the Izmir Agora and perform 2 rakats of prayer here. I feel like I'm hearing people say this. Don't get me wrong. Don't be angry. This is my sentiment. I am following the path of my ancestors. I love what they saw and loved. After all, I am from that land. If you are from that land too, I'm sure what I'm telling you will not seem strange and you will also like it. This place in Izmir was a place of common wisdom for centuries. This place of common wisdom should be preserved again. So, am I preserving the Roman stone here? I am preserving it. Then, if I have a prayer place here from the past, I should be able to preserve this prayer place as well. Which direction is the Qibla? The Qibla is this way. First of all, do you see those cypress trees? They use the area where the cypress trees are as a prayer place. If the congregation was small in number, they would pray there. Then, step by step, during holidays and Fridays, thousands of people would line up here. In this way, the Qibla is this way, and they would pray here like this. Of course, what were the edges of the prayer area? It was a cemetery. This place is very important. It was a historical Ottoman cemetery. Some sources say that when Ataturk's mother, Zübeyde Hanım, passed away, her first burial place was here. Zübeyde Hanım's first tombstone was found among the tombstones here. So this place is truly very important. Ataturk's wife, Latife Hanım, was from the famous Uşakzade family of Izmir. Kadife Hanım's parents, in other words Atatürk's father-in-law and mother-in-law, are right up there. There's the Emin Sultan tomb. They are buried in the cemetery in the garden of the tomb. So it is truly very important. Look, I told you about the Aydınoğulları. I am talking about the Seljuks. I am talking about ancient Rome, Christian Rome, and the Hellenistic period. And I am also talking about Ataturk and the Republic of Turkey. All of these are ours. So if I don't see the prayer place sign here, it's a huge shame for us. Schools should come here. Students should come. 20 students per teacher, 15 students per teacher. And children should explore here. Don't just show them around. I am making this video for that purpose. Let the teachers in our national education watch these. Of course, I say this with regret. There is no burial under any of these stones you see. These stones were the stones of the cemetery in the Agora square. They were all around here. They were collected from here, removed, and this place was turned into a symbolic cemetery. Some of them were lined up on the hill like that, from standing there. These stones are so valuable. In other words, it's indescribable. These are from the era of the principalities. Gravestones. For example, you can see these in the courtyard of the Seljuk İsa Bey Mosque. These are the Seljuk cemeteries of Akşehir Nasreddin Hoca Mosque, Konya Musalla Cemetery, and Denizli İlbada. The Seljuk and Principalities period. These gravestones are so valuable. Look, the lower part is Roman. Our stone masons carved the Roman temple column. On top, they made a Principality period grave with verses, eloquent words, and beautifully columned edges. The bottom is Roman, the top, Aydınoğulları from the Principalities period. Perfect. We can't go inside, so I'm explaining from here. There are magnificent gravestones with mihrabs at the back. Look like this. Do you see? There are gravestones with mihrabs. For example, in early Ottoman period gravestones, there are no kavuk sarık fez or hotos. There is a mihrab niche. There are columned edges. There is a Rumi pediment. Those at the back, for example, are from the Baroque period. These are two women's gravestones. The Baroque decorations on them are so beautiful. For instance, over there is a gravestone with a mosque motif on it. Gravestones with mosques are very famous in the Aegean region. Go to Bergama, the courtyards of the historical mosques in Bergama. Go to the districts of Manisa. For example, go to Akhisar, in the courtyard of Akhisar Ulu Mosque. You will see these gravestones with mosques a lot. This is unique to the Aegean. These gravestones with mosques extend all the way to Balıkesir. For instance, the one you see is a gravestone with a sarcophagus. Seljuk and Beyliks period. How precious, how beautiful. For example, right in front of me. This one, right in front of us, is from the Ottoman period. Do you see this? It has the seal of Solomon on it. On the side, there are two cypress trees and the seal of Solomon. Look at this sarcophagus. On this sarcophagus, you see there is also a seal of Solomon. That is the seal on the ring of Prophet Solomon. There are videos on my YouTube channel where I explain the seal of Solomon in detail. I won't explain it in detail here again, so that the video doesn't get too long. The talisman, the protective charm, was placed there for protection. For example, the Romans placed a pagan head to protect themselves. In the Ottoman and Seljuk periods, they placed the seal of Solomon. We placed the seal of Prophet Solomon on the grave of this deceased elder, O Lord. They said, for the sake of his honor, do not let the fire of torment reach the inhabitants of this grave. Let's proceed this way. Very valuable, very special. For example, there are stones from the later periods. These are somewhat more sculptural stones. Look, there's literally a veil on it. A veil? Such veils are placed. When someone dies before getting married, it means they died without fulfilling their desire. From different periods, there are headpieces from different periods. For example, the one at the back is a Janissary Agha. There is a Janissary Agha cap, which we call Chatma, on his head. Look at the turbans, crisscross turbans, combed turbans, people belonging to different professions and dispositions. For example, there are orders. You see a headpiece belonging to the Kadiri order. Look here, Kadiri. He has an 8-segmented cap on his head. He has a sikka. There is a Mahmudi. Fez. This is the Mahmudi fez you see. Look, I just saw the tombstone of a Kadiri sheikh here. This Kadiri you see is 8-segmented. There is a Kadiri star. In the back we see a mosque motif again. These continue here, in this way. Look, for example, there are sarcophagi with fruits of paradise here. There is pomegranate. It's cracked. Teeth are visible. Pomegranate, grape, fig. These are fruits of paradise. Date. Let's move to the side. There are clusters of grapes in the bowl. How beautifully stylized. The grape clusters are intertwined. 3 clusters intertwined. 2 at the bottom, 1 on top. Right after that, there are pomegranates again. Fruit of paradise. Oh Lord, we have engraved the image of these fruits of paradise on the stone of our deceased elder. They said, may you bless him in his grave with the originals of these fruits. Of course, here, a very interesting tombstone. Do you know what this tombstone you see is? What was the notable Pargalı Ibrahim Pasha wearing on his head in the magnificent century? He was wearing this Kalavi turban, a Grand Vizier's tombstone. Kalavi turban. In the Ottoman Empire, it could be worn by very high-ranking state officials, usually Grand Viziers and admirals of the fleet. This is such a cemetery. In this cemetery, even a Grand Vizier could find a place for himself. Look, right next to it is this one, in the grave, with the fez. The governor of Izmir is lying. Governor of Izmir, Kamal Pasha, is lying here. In other words, the memory of the Aydınoğulları, today's Izmir, is here. But unfortunately, we have ruined this cemetery. We brought the stones and placed them here like this. And then we talk about our ancestors, you know. I leave it to your conscience to judge how sincere we are. So what needs to be done here is this. We will also protect the magnificent works of the Hellenistic civilization. The ancient pagan Roman. We will also uncover the Agora. In fact, a theater was found right here from Khedive Kale. Our people blessed them, filled the top of the theater and made a neighborhood, unqualified houses. Now most of them have been demolished. The theater excavation continues. The theater will be restored and the theater will be completed. I am currently 46 years old. Please, let the castle be restored to pristine condition and open to tourism before I die. Let the theater be restored and open to tourism. When I look from the castle towards the Agora, towards the mansion, let's see the old Smyrna here. From the Hellenistic period to the early Republic period. Let the world flow here. Let the world read our entire history here, from Alexander the Great to Ataturk's mother. Let them leave foreign currency, explore, and also be amazed by us, because we truly are a civilization and a society to be admired. We just experienced a period of memory loss, and our own greatness, our strength, our power, and our embracing vision for world civilization, we slightly forgot.